1.375, 1.9, then 1.3375. Okay, let's see, 75. Okay, next is 0.682, 1.193, 0.682, 1.193. Okay, next is 2 meters, 3.525 and 3.93. 2 meters, 3.525 and then 3.93. Let's reconfirm. 2 meters, 3.525 and then 3.93. So we're okay. Once you're through, ensure that it's x-axis, right? And that's all. Just say okay. Okay. So it will create the entire beams in this direction. So I would like to do the same thing in the z direction, downwards. So let's look at this. We have, okay, so this is where we are. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. To confirm again, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So you go back there, you select this entire beams, you go to translational, repeat in the z axis. How many steps? 5 steps. We're going to put the distances just like we did before. First step is this. .825, 1.426. Let's put it down. 2.825, 1.426, 0.9663, 3.245, 0.9663, 3.245, where was I? Okay, it's 3.245, and the last one is 1.0017. 1.0017. Okay, make sure it's in the z direction and then say okay. Okay, once you do this, you can close this. We are now going to modify this, to look like what we have on our structural layout. Okay, let's try to view the beams only. Let's look at trying to view the beams only. Okay, so this is what we have. Okay, so we're here. Let's look at how this will be done. We need to take off the beams that we do not need. Remember, we created most of all of these, and then some of these beams that are not required, we'll need to take them off so as to represent the structural framing that we now have here. So what I want to do now is to remove all information that is not required so that I have proper clarity and legibility. Okay, I think I took away a lot of information, but let me look at this. Okay, I need the center lines. Okay, it's a little bit clearer to me. So now, okay, let's look at it now. So I have this, we'll go to compare side by side. I have that's cool. The next one is here, that's fine. That's that, but it extends, a bit upwards. So what's the extension? Let's look at that. Extension is here to here. That's 0.7625. So what you just do, you go there, select this, right click, move Z negative minus 0.7625, retain connections, and say okay. It has moved it upwards. Okay, so that's this location. Next one is this. You can see this is the same as that. Okay, but it doesn't continue here, so we're going to stop that at some point. So we take here, we move to again Z minus 0.7625, retain connections please. Great, so it's there. So but this stops somewhere around there. Let's look at where it stops so that we can take it off. So from here to where it stops is 6.013. So you measure out there. That's it. So we're taking off all of these, which is not required. Okay. You take off all of that. So when we do that, so we've gotten this. Look at it again. So we don't need this beam. We don't need this beam. Yeah. So the two of them. We don't need this beam. We don't need this beam. You take it off. So we're trying to, create the structural framing plan. That's exactly what we're trying to do. So we're trying to create the structural framing plan, from scratch. That's exactly what we intend to achieve. So you see how this is done. Okay, I have removed that. So we're on this third location. If you look carefully too, you wouldn't see this. Okay, we don't need that. So we don't need this and that and that. Okay, we don't need that, so you take it away. Then we don't need anything here after this main beam here. So you don't need this, you don't need that. Take it away. This as well too, looking at that. Okay, so that continues here, so we don't need this. So you didn't need this and that, so you delete. Okay, so you can now merge these beams that were broken into 3. Select them like I've done. Go to geometry, merge, and then merge and merge. Okay, you've created these beams, standalone beams. The same thing here. Select geometry, merge, merge, and merge that. Okay, so you're going to just repeat this same process. You repeat this same process. You can see what I'm doing. It's just very simple. As soon as we've created these grids already, we're going to take off information not relevant to what we are seeing on the structure. I have done that for this. You move to the next one, which is this beam. If you look at this beam, you know, it starts from here to here. So obviously you don't need this, you don't need that, you don't need that. You delete it, you know, you take that away. And then, you know, any other information, like it has broken this beam in, you go back there, you take these two, geometry, you merge, and then you merge the beam, and then you close. You can take away this dimension, you know, clicking dimension, dimension goes up. So we just carefully and meticulously repeat this same process one after the other, okay, till we develop the first floor structural layout. Okay, so I'm going to take my time to do this, and then I complete the first floor structural layout, and then we'll see how we'll get to the roof, to the second floor structural layout. So I'm still very close to completion. This is where we are currently. We are making extensive progress. You could see the panels. Okay, so this is these panels, this, that, that. This, that. Okay, so we're almost there. I need to then create this beam now. So I select add beam from there to there, and then I go back there. There's a beam here which is omitted, erroneously deleted, so I take that from there to there, and from here to here. Okay, let's look at that. So the next thing you would have to do now is to create, before you create your columns, you need to back check your model for accuracy, consistency, and correctness. Your dimension must be accurate. If not, your analysis will give you wrong results, because the bending moments and shear forces are a typical function of the member geometry. Geometry in terms of its prismatic property, its length, its cross-sectional properties, and the rest. So the length must be accurate. So we could just check, you know, do a final inspection and ensure that the geometry is exactly what you have in your analysis model. As soon as you establish this, the next step to do is, look at what we're going to do now. Run some checks. You go to tools, check if you have erroneously created multiple structure. Once you see structure 1, you only have one structure and you're fine. Close. You check if you have overlapping collinear members. If you have mistakenly created beams twice that overlap each other, you run that check. If it tells you no overlapping collinear beams, you are fine. You check if you have zero length member. If you mistakenly created a beam without any specified length, it will appear here. So no zero length member, so we are fine. So let's move to the next floor. How do you do about it? You go to isometric view. Now you will check your coordinates correctly. We have modeled this to correspond with the Z coordinate being at elevation 0. So you can always troubleshoot your coordinates by clicking node cursor and hovering around your coordinates. Once you hover around your coordinates, it will show you, hover around any of the nodes rather, it will show you the coordinates of that node. So once your Z coordinate is 0, it means that you have modeled this at elevation 0. Now let's go back to the architectural design and see where we need to model our first floor. So first floor has to be at elevation 4.4. Okay, so first floor has to be at elevation 4.4 with reference to the existing grade level. So I go back to the model. I need to move this upwards by 4.4. How are you certain that this is at elevation 0? What gives you confidence that this is at elevation 0? If you click on this snap node or beam and you change this to XZ, it is clear that you are at elevation 0 because this corresponds to the origin of the entire graphical user interface. So I will need to move this entire structure upwards by 4.4. What do I do? How do I go about it? Go to plan view, take beam cursor, select the entire beams, click on isometric view, right click, move the Y direction by 4.4 meters and then retain connection. Okay, so yes, that's it. Okay, so we've moved this relative to the origin by 4.4. How do you know? Go to node cursor, hover around any of the nodes to give you the elevation in the Y direction to be 4.4. Okay, now we need to create our columns. We need to create our columns. Go to the first floor structural layout. Look at the column position.